Hi, my name is Tatiana, and today I will give you a very basic overview of Feedly, which is an RSS reader, which means that you can aggregate all of your blogs that you are interested in one place. Basically, instead of going to each blog separately each day to read the new content, you instead subscribe and bring them into Feedly and read all of them at one time in one place. So let's start. To start, simply go to feedly.com. It will bring you to a login screen, regardless whether you have an account or not. So you start by clicking the login. Another handy feature is it will find all of your Google accounts and show it to you, so you can choose which account you want to associate with your Feedly, or you can create an account using different email address. So if you have a Hotmail, this is where you would enter it. I happen to have set up my Feedly using Gmail account already, so I'm going to log in with that account. So I'm going to select this. Then Feedly will ask you if it's okay to display certain information, which is fine with me. So I'm just going to click accept. And it's going to take a couple of seconds for Feedly to display. And so we're in. So this is my Feedly. And my home page or my front page is set up to display all of the latest posts of today. So no matter how many blogs I subscribe to, if those blogs put out a new content today, all of that will be displayed on the front page. So I don't even have to go deep to look for the new content. And you can see I have been subscribing to many blogs. So from this front page also you can choose to say go and read particular article that catches your eye. So once you click on the title of that article, it will actually display that post in the Feedly, within Feedly, and you can go through this, and if you find it interesting and say want to share it, you have some options available for you up at the top below the article title. If you want to actually read that article on the blog itself, all you have to do is click on the title of that article. It will actually bring you to the blog itself on the external site. So one of the handy things that you can also do from this view is this save for later option. So once you click on that, your article will be saved to read for later. And the cool thing about this is that once you go to my Feedly menu and click on saved for later items, that article will display, as you can see, with the rest of the items that you have saved for later. And the reason I mention it is because I share a lot of items on daily basis, and so for me it is handy to mark something, save for later, and come back to it and start sharing. And the other reason this is pretty handy is that, so let's say I want to share this article from my saved for later items, and in this case I'm gonna use Google Plus, but you can use Twitter or Facebook or LinkedIn. So I'm gonna add a comment, cool design, and then down below I have an option of how I want to share this article. So you can on Google Plus add it to your particular circle, or you can make it public, and this is what I'm going to do. So once you do that, there's a green button below that says share. You click share, and once you've done that, this article will appear in your Google Plus under preferences in plus ones menu. And so once you have shared that content, you simply go back to the save for later button and unsave it for later. And what it does is it actually, let me hide this and refresh the page. It then takes that article out of the save for later items, and this way you keep track, of what you have shared and what you haven't. Once you shared it, get it out of the save for later menu, and this way you don't double share on accident, because we all know how frustrating it is to have some double shares. um, so the other items on my Feedly menu is organize, and this is a really handy area where you can move your content around and you can create new categories to put the content under. So the new category is the last block on the page, and in order to create a new category with some content, you simply find a blog subscription that you have made already and drag and drop it into the new category, and then Feedly will ask you to give it a label. And so I'm just gonna name it home and click create, and then Feedly displays it in alphabetical order. So let me scroll up, so you can see that this is my newly created category with the blog that I have added to that category. From this page, you can also move content around from one category to another. Again, very simple. All you have to do is grab an item from one category and just drop it into another, and that's it. So as far as managing your content, this is pretty easy, intuitive, and time saving. So the other way to add content to your Feedly is actually go through add content button. So once you do that, Feedly will display this search bar. So I already have figured out which site I want to subscribe to via Feedly, and that happened to be New York Times. So to add New York Times to my Feedly is really simple. You simply copy the URL of the site you want to add, go back to Feedly, enter it into the search bar, then it will take, press enter. Oops, sorry. It will take a few seconds, and Feedly will pull up all of the RSS feeds associated with that URL. So in this case, you can see there's two, and I'm not going to subscribe to travel RSS. I'm just going to subscribe to the main New York Times blog. So I have to click a plus button, and this is where I can add or create a new category for this item, or since I have had a lot of categories already created, I am gonna, for some reason it's marked, I'm gonna check the read category and stick my New York Times up there. So then once I'm done, I can create update, and then if you go back to my Feedly, let's scroll down. So it was under read category, and you can see that New York Times homepage has been added. So once I click on that, I can see all of the content that has been posted there today. You can see there's a lot of articles, but also content that has been posted yesterday and day before. So that's easy as pie. The other things that you can do with your Feedly is you can preview your index, which will show all of the blogs under categories in a sort of a table of content format. So that will give you just a summary, quick summary of what's going on with each of your categories and how many posts you haven't read. You can see some of mine have many not read ones. So it's kind of handy to see the content that you haven't read in a while. And then you can display your posts by recently read, so it will just display everything that you have read quite recently. And then there's preferences for your Feedly, where you can set some of the features as far as how your Feedly looks and themes. And There's also an access to a Feedly blog, which is a community of people who are using Feedly, so they're blogging about things associated with Feedly. And then knowledge base that has some tutorials if you want to explore Feedly further. So I'm just going to show you quickly what the preference looks like. One of the things that you can do here that is handy is to set your home page to not just today's post, but you can let all of the posts for all of the blogs display, or you can go to index. Remember that page that looks like table of content. So I find that today display is more useful for me because then you only have the newest content on the blogs so that you know you're going through new content. And then there's variety of views available. You can see it even has a mimic format of Google Reader. Magazine works for me, but again, it's just entirely up to you and your preferences. So then there is a few other options available that are pretty self-explanatory. Some include, even links of the colors, link colors. So the one that I want to point out to you though is the sharing options. So if you're a Pinterest addict, you might want to check the connection to your Pinterest boards as yes, and then that will allow you to actually share it to the Pinterest board, the content that comes into Feedly. And then I'm a Twitter addict, so I share a lot via Twitter. So Feedly gives you also an option to have this default text that you can set. Like right now I set it to interesting read, but you can set it to whatever. Let's say most useful. And then what it will do is once you share to Twitter, it will have the link to the post and also these words accompanying it. So those are the most important features that I think are handy. And then just a couple of words about Opml. Basically what it is if you did have, say, Google Reader before, or you have used other RSS reader for aggregation of your content, then you can actually export content from that reader into a file, save it to your desktop, and then import it back into Feedly. And this way, if you change in readers, like I had couple of months ago it switched from Google Reader to Feedly, it was very easy. Instead of going manually blog by blog, I just at a couple of clicks and I brought all of the content from my Google Reader into Feedly. And that is a basic overview of Feedly. I hope you enjoyed.